Lesson 5, Freedom of the Human Person. Let's ponder. Fill in the circles with words that you associate with freedom. Create a concept web based on the one shown below. Then, answer the guide questions. 1. What do you think makes us free? 2. How do we know that we are free? And 3. Do you use your freedom responsibly? Today, we will learn something new and we will be guided on these objectives. Number 1, evaluate and exercise prudence in choices. Number 2, realize that choices have consequences and some things are given up while others are obtained in making choices. And 3, show situations which demonstrate freedom of choice and consequences of one's choices. Let me share to you the overview of this lesson regarding freedom of the human person. The lesson discusses human freedom as an essential property of the human person. Freedom is understood by philosophers as the power of the person to create and define oneself and is rooted in one's capacity for self-determination. Exercising freedom entails responsibility, and human actions can either uphold or diminish freedom. Freedom, therefore, should be exercised in a responsible and beneficial manner, such that one upholds not only personal freedom but also the freedom of others. Now, let's tackle the understanding or the essential understanding of this lesson. Human persons are naturally free, and freedom enables us to make our own identity and perform free actions. We should keep in mind, however, that our freedom should be exercised in a responsible manner since our decisions and actions have consequences. We must use our freedom in a way that is beneficial not only to ourselves but also the other persons. As we go on with our discussion, first, let us define the word freedom. And what is the essence of freedom? Freedom is an intrinsic and essential property of the person. This means that the human person by nature is a free being and that it is in his or her nature to seek freedom. An important indication of human freedom is the ability to make choices and perform actions. Our freedom to act sets us apart from other beings. Let's compare how animals and human persons behave to get a better understanding of freedom. We see some animals behave like human beings because they seem to perform actions in response to commands. A well-trained dog can perform certain tasks on commands such as stay or fetch because it has been trained and conditioned to perform. The same cannot be said about human beings. You cannot just approach a stranger, toss him or her a ball, and say fetch. Surely you will be met with curious and suspicious stares. A person will not respond automatically to the command to fetch because he or she is not conditioned to obey like a dog. The human person does not experience the world in the same way that animals do. Animals act instinctively, meaning their actions are more like predetermined responses to certain stimuli. A person, on the other hand, can choose the course of action to take when given a stimulus or faced with a certain situation. You expect your dog to always respond in the same way to your command. With us humans, our inherent freedom makes us very dynamic creatures and our actions do not necessarily follow a set pattern or predetermined course. Your mother may ask you to clean your room one day and you will follow her instruction. The following week, however, you may decide not to clean your room when told because you will feel lazy. The week after, you may decide to clean your room without even being told. These varied actions indicate that you are exercising your freedom. Freedom is also understood as the power to be what you want to be and the ability to decide and create yourself. You may have a good idea of your personal identity at this point in your life. Though we have a certain inherent traits such as physical attributes and temperament, many of the characteristics that define our personality are often a product of our choices. Our talents, for instance, are developed to their fullest only if we choose to dedicate time and effort to improve them. Our preferences and views are other aspects of our personality that we freely adopt. You may have also imagined yourself as a successful professional in the future. Your nature as a human person gives you the ability to imagine that future. Your freedom, meanwhile, gives you the ability to strive to achieve that goal. Freedom is rooted in the human person's self-determination and the exercise of intellect and free will. This means that a person's every action is freely determined and these actions define him or her. We can freely choose to be a good person and to act in a good way. A good act makes a person better, while its opposite has a negative impact on him or her as a person. This is the nature of self-determination, that a person's actions determine what kind of person he or she becomes. Look at the situation. Samuel is carrying a heavy load for books along the hallway when he suddenly loses his balance and drops all the books. Imagine that you are one of his classmates who witnessed this. Which among the situations pictured will be your most hurtful reactions? The pictures present three possible reactions. You may choose not to help Samuel and just watch or ignore him. While he picks up his book, you may also choose to help him pick up his books, or you may laugh at him and refuse to help. Freedom gives us the choices to undertake one of these possible actions. It also enables us to come up with new choices. For instance, Samuel may laugh at Samuel but decide to help him later. The essence of freedom is that it does not confine our actions to choose, set, or expected by others. We can imagine new actions and decide to undertake. Now, recall your answer and ask yourself why you choose to take that action. Reflecting upon your actions will enable you to know yourselves better as a person. Your actions determine if you uphold human dignity and freedom. Having freedom, however, also entails certain responsibilities. It is possible for a person to diminish or negate freedom through the choices and actions that he or she makes. Freedom also requires a degree of control from the person who exercises it. A person becomes more free when he or she exercises control over himself or herself. On the other hand, a person becomes less free when he or she is no longer in control of himself or herself and is instead controlled by other forces. For example, persons suffering from addictions are less free because they are overpowered by their addiction to certain substances and can barely control themselves when presented with these things. People who act solely based on their emotions are also less free because They allow themselves to be controlled by their feelings without any regard for ethical considerations. People who behave impulsively and erratically are more similar to animals than persons. To lose control of oneself diminishes human freedom and dehumanizes the other person. Persons who are denied their freedom by other individuals, groups, and institutions are also dehumanized. Slavery is a dehumanizing act because a person is forced to work for life without the possibility to ever living a life of bondage. A person who is imprisoned is also a dehumanized person because he or she is denied his or her freedom and is confined to prison life. That same person, however, also dehumanizes the person whom he or she wronged. Now, let us proceed. There are three kinds of freedom. We have the physical freedom, psychological freedom, and moral freedom. What do you mean by physical freedom? Physical freedom refers to the absence of any physical restraint. The person has the freedom of mobility to go where he or she wants to go. He or she is not impeded in his or her actions by any physical force. Granted that the person has natural limitations. Physical freedom allows him or her to act and move in determined manner. You cannot everywhere at once, but your freedom allows you to move from one place to another and to go wherever you want to go. What is psychological freedom? Psychological freedom is also called freedom of choice. The person is free to perform actions that he or she considers right and wise. A person is also free to act or not to act. Psychological freedom is innate and cannot be denied a person. No outside force or influence can compel a person to take action against his or her will. And third, we have this moral freedom. Moral freedom refers to using freedom in a manner that upholds human dignity and goodness. Freedom is not an object that a person may use in whatever way he or she pleases. A person must use his or her freedom to grow as a person. A person becomes more free when he or she uses freedom well, but becomes less free when he or she uses in a bad way. Humans have natural inclinations for what is true and good. And when a person uses his or her freedom to do acts that violate human dignity and goodness, he or she dehumanizes himself or herself and effectively negates human freedom. This time, I want you to prepare your answer on these questions. Number 1, how is freedom an expression of our humanity? Number 2, how is freedom related to self-determination? And number 3, how can the loss of freedom lead to dehumanization? What makes us free? And how does freedom shape our experiences? There are two elements that define freedom. Voluntariness refers to the ability of a person to act out his or her own free will and self-determinations. This means that a person may decide to act or not to act, and these decisions are made out of his or her own free will. Voluntariness also means that a person may act even if he or she is not required or called to take action. Voluntary acts are free acts which can be assigned a corresponding moral value. Let's analyze the following scenario and figure out how voluntariness was expressed in the situation. Mang Lito was walking down a street when he suddenly saw a boy crossing the busy road. The boy was chasing after a basketball that had bounced off into the road. The boy had his eyes on his ball and did not realize that there was an overcoming traffic on the road. At the same time, a taxi was passing along the road. Each driver saw the boy suddenly crossing and he quickly applied his brake to stop the car. The taxi was about to hit the boy when Mang Lito decided to take action, ran across the road and grab the boy to safety. Reflect on the actions and choices that were made in that situation. Why did the boy suddenly across the street? What did the taxi driver do when he saw the boy on the road? What did Mang Lito do when he realized that boy was about to hit by the car? Did Mang Mario really have to save the boy? You can argue that he had the freedom to just stand by and not get involved in the incident. If he did that, what would be the result of his inaction? Would it be possible for other people on the sidewalk to risk their life like Mang Lito did? What can you say about Mang Lito and his actions? What do you think will be the result of his actions? Reflect on your own experiences or actions. Have you ever made a voluntary action to address a bad situation? You have come across some situations where you knew that something bad was happening. Did you make a voluntary action to prevent something bad from happening? Or did you choose not to act? Look at the following pictures and figure out what is happening and discuss what would be the best course of action in these situations. Whenever we decide to take action, this results in a certain consequence. All human actions have consequences, and these affect not only the person who commits the action, but also other people and our surroundings. As a free being, the person must accept the consequences of his or her action and take responsibility for them. The second element of freedom, responsibility, refers to the person being accountable for his or her actions and their consequences. Taking responsibility can either mean a person voluntarily taking responsibility for his or her own actions or being held responsible by other people. Whenever you know you committed a bad action, you can either voluntarily confess to it or other people will point it out and hold you responsible. Responsibility can also have a positive or negative meaning, and it goes hand in hand with voluntariness in determining the morality of an action. Let's go back to the situation presented earlier. If Mang Lito was able to rescue the boy from being hit by the car, he could take responsibility for his heroic action. The people who saw his act may regard him as a hero and express admiration for him. On the other hand, if Mang Lito was unable to save the boy in time, the taxi driver could be held responsible for hitting the boy. Mang Lito could even hold himself responsible for failing to save the boy. Voluntariness and responsibility go hand in hand in determining a person's freedom. In any situation where a person is forced to do an action against his or her will, it follows one or that he or she cannot be held responsible for his or her involuntary action. A person who is forced by bank robbers to open the safety vault in a bank may not be held fully responsible for the crime of robbery, since he or she acted without much voluntariness. On the other hand, a person who had no awareness of the effect of his or her actions can be considered as acting with diminished freedom. One example may be a person who tried to scare his or her friend by jumping out of a corner wearing a scary mask. The surprised friend decided to run away, but in his or her panic, he or she hit a wall and was injured. It was not the intention of the person who committed the prank to get his or her friend hurt. but it happened because he or she did not fully consider the consequences of his or her actions. Without these two elements, human freedom is diminished, and the person makes imperfect actions and unwise decisions, which may have negative effects on the self and others. The realization of voluntariness and responsibility in the exercise of our freedom gives our actions and experience as a whole new meaning. We can now reflect on our actions to better understand them and guide us toward making the best possible decision. We can therefore begin to examine our actions, habits, and behavior by asking ourselves the following questions. What should I do? What should I do it? Why should I do it? What will happen if I do it? How will my actions or behavior affect myself, others, and my surroundings? Will my actions or behavior be considered correct, proper, beneficial, and moral? Another reality that we have to face as we experience or exercise our freedom is the fact that freedom is experienced through the act of making choices. Although human freedoms give us the ability to think on countless decisions and possible actions, we only get to choose to enact one of these possible actions or decisions. Having the ability to choose and enact a course of action does not automatically mean that we should take action every time. It is also possible that the choice not to take action may be an acceptable and moral choice in a given situation. When we make the choice to do a particular action, we can never go back and redo our actions and make another choice. Real life is not a movie where we can stop and rewind events and get a second take on the situation. Therefore, it is very important that when confronted with choices, we exercise caution and prudence and reflect on our possible course of action. Self-reflection is a vital in the proper exercise of human freedom. As persons, we cannot allow ourselves to be slaves to sudden emotions and moods whenever we act. As free and rational beings, we must recognize the importance of exercising freedom responsibly. This requires us to reflect on our actions, consider their effects, and make the proper choices regarding the most beneficial decisions or actions. Now, just select any of the guide question and discuss your thought. Number 1. Why are voluntariness and responsibility important elements of freedom? Is the choice of doing nothing a valid and moral choice? In what situation is this choice acceptable? How can self-reflection aid you in exercising freedom and making choices? Then, think. Summarize your ideas on freedom by completing the table. On the left side, you will write, I am free because, then you write the reasons. Then, the right side, you are free as a person, then you must, then state your reason. Is that understood? Very good. How can I exercise my freedom in a responsible and beneficial manner? You may have heard the saying, my freedom to swing my fist ends where your nose begins. This simple statement points to the fact that human freedom, though essential, is not absolute. Human freedom should be exercised with control and recognition of reasonable limits. We set limits to our own freedom and learn to moderate or control our thoughts, emotions, and actions depending on the situation. A person can even choose to limit his or her own freedom or even surrender it entirely if it will result to greater benefits. A person may choose not to enter the jeepney first despite being first in line to give way to an elderly woman. A young professional may choose not to speak up in a meeting regarding serious concerns about a worker, but instead directly confront the person concerned in private. You may be very angry at your teacher for scolding you in front of the entire class, but you refrain from answering back at him or her since it will be considered a disrespectful act. Citizens may be angry about corruption in the government, but they do not go to the streets and engage in violence just to express their anger. Instead, they find other more reasonable and lawful means to express it. Limiting our personal freedom requires to sacrifice certain self-interest and accept certain realities that are beyond our control. You may have the freedom to pursue a degree in medicine, but realizing that your parents do not have the means to send you to medical school, you decide to take less expensive course. Our sense of right and wrong guide us in recognizing and deciding on the limitations to our freedom. Our society also imposes restrictions on our individual freedom, from determining the places where we can cross a street to controlling our actions through laws and regulations. Society implements reasonable restrictions to personal freedom in order to maintain order and harmony and uphold the welfare of the public. Freedom should also be exercised with regard for knowledge and truth. As rational beings, it is natural for us to think before we act. We use freedom to act and acquire more knowledge, and we use this knowledge in order to come up with decisions and courses of actions when confronted with difficult situations. To correctly answer a multiple choice item in an exam, a student should study and prepare beforehand to know the correct information needed to answer the test. Otherwise, he or she will be unable to answer the test correctly. The ability to acquire information and truthful knowledge regarding a particular situation is very important, since it aids us in making wise and informed choices. For instance, in voting for officials in your student council elections, some students may choose to vote for candidates that they know and like, or even candidates that they find attractive or appealing. More discerning students, however, will choose to find out each candidate's views in important school issues and cast their vote based on their judgment of who is the better candidate to address these concerns. A courtroom judge has the freedom to make any decision on any case. But if he or she wishes to uphold justice and render proper judgment, he or she must carefully study the facts of the case in order to arrive at correct conclusions regarding the issues. Truthful knowledge is also needed for people who wish to invest in business ventures to determine if they are getting into legitimate transactions or just being deceived into participating in a scam. Determining the proper information needed before we choose the best course of action is not easy, but it is a necessary step to ensure that our choices, decisions, and actions are proper, reasonable, and just. If we make choice and act on false or incomplete information, we may end up making decisions which will bring harm to ourselves and others. It is therefore necessary to cultivate the intellectual virtue of prudence to be our guide in making sound choices. As human persons, our nature drives us to uphold human dignity and goodness. In exercising our freedom, we should also recognize and uphold not only our individual freedom, but also the freedom of others. This view has led to the assertion that freedom is a recognized and guaranteed right of all persons. Many societies identify certain freedoms that should be enjoyed by all, as these contribute to the quality of life of the individual and the welfare of the society. These include the freedom to live and determine one's identity, freedom from slavery and other constraints, freedom of speech, and freedom of thought, conscience, and religions. Freedom should be exercised with due regard for the welfare of other persons, and one's freedom should be exercised not as a tool to restrict freedom of others, but as a means to enable others to fully enjoy their own freedom. Now take note on the given and the chosen. People often think that the fullness of freedom is found in one's ability to make decisions about one's life. Choice is indeed an element of freedom. But freedom goes beyond mere choosing. Freedom is not absolute, and in our lives, there are a lot of things that we could not choose. For example, we were not given a choice if we wanted to be born. We were simply given life. We also did not choose our parents. Some of our physical traits and personal characteristics were simply genetically handed down and already form part of us. We are not in total control of everything around us, and we sometimes find ourselves with very limited choices, such as being stuck in traffic, getting mad in someone on the street, and having strong emotions for someone. Many things in life are given. Although some things are given, it does not mean that we do not really have freedom. On the contrary, there are instances when we can exercise our freedom because we are not determined by these forces or situations. Difficult situations may not always be avoidable, especially if we happen to be victims of circumstances. But we may take these difficult situations positively or negatively. We may not always have the best family, but it does not mean that our future family will turn out the same way as our current one. A person with an indifferent attitude may find it hard to be motivated and excited about things in general, but it doesn't mean that he or she is incapable of being interested and inspired to act passionately. These givens or predetermined things do not negate our freedom, but give us opportunities to exercise our freedom when we determine ourselves. The key idea is that we should always act well in any given situation because the self is determined by the self. We have given tendencies or inclinations, and the world also exerts some forces over us. But we can transcend all of this and determine ourselves in the manner we want because we are free. As much as possible, we must use our freedom in a good way so that we may become better people and better versions of ourselves for our own sake and the sake of others. Now, discuss. Number 1. What enables the person to exercise limit in his or her freedom? Number 2. How does truthful knowledge contribute to human freedom? And number 3. How can you show respect for the freedom of others? Let me summarize the key points of our topic. The freedom of the human person. Freedom is an intrinsic and essential property of a person. The human person is by nature free and seeks freedom. Our freedom to act sets us apart from other beings. Freedom is also understood to be the power to create and define oneself. It is also rooted in a person's self-determination and the exercise of intellect and free will. Having and exercising freedom entails certain responsibilities. Human action can either uphold or diminish freedom. A person becomes less free when he or she does not exercise control over his or her actions. Actions that diminish freedom also dehumanize a person. There are 3 kinds of freedom. Physical freedom refers to the absence of physical restraint. Psychological freedom is the freedom of choice. Moral freedom refers to the responsible use of freedom which upholds human dignity and goodness. The 2 important elements of human freedom are voluntariness and responsibility. Voluntariness refers to the ability of the person to act out of his or her own free will and self-determination. Responsibility refers to the person being accountable for his or her actions and their consequences. Freedom is experienced through the act of making choices. It is therefore important for persons to exercise caution and prudence and reflect on possible courses of action in making decisions or doing actions. Freedom should be exercised in a responsible and beneficial manner. Individuals must exercise control over their actions and recognize reasonable limits to their freedom. Freedom should also be exercised with regard for knowledge and truth, and each choice or action must be made after careful thought and reflection. Finally, it is our responsibility as a persons to uphold not only our individual freedoms, but also the freedom of others. This time, being your subject teacher, let me measure on how far you have understood our topic by administering this assessment. Are you ready? Wow, that's good. Now for letter A, identify the following. Write your answers on a given activity sheets. Number 1. This is the ability to make choices and perform actions, and is an intrinsic and essential property of the human person. Number 2. This is freedom from any physical restraint. 3. This is the freedom of choice. 4. This is the ability to act out of one's free will and self-determination. And 5. This refers to the person being accountable for his or her actions and their consequences. In letter B, put a check beside the number of the statement which shows responsible use of freedom. Number 1. Instead of spending her excess allowance on a new pair of shoes, Rina decides to open a bank account and start saving up for her future. 2. Despite the threats made on his life, the witness decided to come forward and divulge important information regarding the crime he witnessed. 3. A woman used the internet to humiliate her ex-boyfriend by spreading lewd photos of him on social media. 4. Despite knowing that many of his clients were poor and desperate, a money lender continues to impose very high interest rates on loans. And 5. A businessman did not accept a high-paying position in an overseas firm and instead decided to start his own business and spend more time with his family. For letter C, just select any one of the following situations. Then, give your recommendations on how the persons involved can exercise freedom more responsibly. Number 1. Julia's family is well known for being wealthy and influential. However, her family faced hard times in the previous year. Her father's business closed and they were forced to sell most of their possessions and live a much simpler life. Julia, however, wishes to maintain her image among her friends. She has resorted to borrowing money from relatives in order to keep up with her well-off barkada. Number 2. Mang Tony Smith's stall has been very profitable these days. It turns out that he has been tampering with the weighing scales and has been selling less meat at the increased prices. One time, some meat went stale and he decided to mix it with other fresh meat so he could still sell it. And 3. Bernard was asked by his teacher to photocopy handouts and reading materials in their English class. His teacher unknowingly inserted a copy of the final exam in the stack of papers she gave to Bernard. When he saw the copy of the final exam, Bernard quickly took it and placed it in his bag. And 4. Gladys was very angry when she heard that her friend Julia was spreading mean gossip about her in school. When Gladys found out that Julia has been pretending to be rich, when in fact her family is now poor, she contacted her friends and told them about it. Then reflect. In what way can you change or improve your behavior so that you will be better able to uphold human freedom? Then, apply. Reflect on your past experiences and identify a moment when you believe you had no choice regarding your actions or decisions, or you made a choice that you eventually regretted. Reevaluate that situation using the various views on human freedom.